Look up, look down, look out. Here come the Monkees.
Mickey,
David,
Mike,
Peter.
We're talking about them in Monkeeing Around. That's right, Monkeeing Around has everything, including
interviews,
Episode reviews.
album discussions.
and other incredible surprises.
Monkeeing Around, a podcast about the Monkees. Welcome back to Monkeeing Around. This week we are talking about Davy Jones, music and memories, and joined by special guest Glenn Gretlund of 7A Records. Welcome, Glenn, or welcome back, I should say.
Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you again.
Yeah, so it's been a while since we've had you on, so we're going to kind of go backwards a little bit, and why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into the Monkees?
Well, I was watching the reruns. I'm from Denmark originally, and I grew up in the MTV era. Oh, I was kind of, it was called Sky Channel at the time in Europe, and they had the reruns of the Monkees TV series, followed by A Dream of Jeannie and Batman, I believe.
Nice.
And that just got me hooked, And at the time, before the internet, I was sort of struggling to get any information about what was going on and what happened in the subsequent years. And I was lucky to find a fan club in the UK.
Oh.
At the time, I had no idea there was a huge fan club in the States, because how would you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it must have been through Record Collector. You know, the Record Collector magazine?
Yeah.
I think they had the address in there of a UK fan club.
Okay.
And that was run at the time by Kirk and Sue White. It was called Band 6. And I was already really into music and, buying lots of CDs and listening all the time. And I decided as a 19-year-old to move to London and try to get into the music business. And Kirk and Sue from the Monkees fan club said, "Why don't you come and stay with us until you find a place to live?" And that was like and that just happened to be just before the Monkees UK tour in '97.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
And it was literally the same month in March of '97 that I moved to the UK. And perks of living with the fan club was that I got front row seats and backstage passes and everything for the Monkees UK shows. So that was unbelievable, really, and very grateful to this day. And I was lucky to get into a music company and completely unrelated to the Monkees, and I was releasing lots of CDs all the time. Those were the days when you could sell 100,000 CDs. I remember the Spice Girls were big in the UK at the time.
Yeah.
And we were buying CDs from the major labels as well as releasing them ourselves. And suddenly somebody said, "We want to buy 100,000 Spice Girls CDs. Can you get them to us?"
Wow.
And there was a truck on its way from Belgium, and we managed to divert the truck. And anyway, that was I'm going off on something else, but those were the days.
Yeah, no, I was kind of interested in the Spice Girls truck to Belgium.
Yeah, I know.
Makings of a movie right there. But no, I think your story is a really great example of just how the Monkees and the fan community around it really changed the trajectory of your life. I mean, I imagine just having a place to stay to come to England was huge for a 19-year-old.
Absolutely, because I wouldn't know where to start if you don't know anybody, especially before the internet.
Right.
Because what do you do? It was quite a jungle.
Mm-hmm. When you were living in Denmark and communicating with folks who were in the UK, now being from America, like when I was growing up, it was quite an endeavor just to send letters and things back and forth to other countries because we're crossing the Atlantic and all that. But was it pretty easy to communicate? I mean, how was the sort of inter-country communication back then?
Yeah, that's what we did. We wrote letters all the time, and I have to say they were really good at the fan club in responding.
Yeah.
And completely, spending their own time and money and. So that's how I got into it, and I suddenly realized I'm not the only fan.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
In Denmark.
Right.
The thing is, in Denmark, the TV series wasn't on in Denmark, not even in the '60s.
Oh, wow.
So I think the head of the Danish broadcasting network didn't like the long hair, basically. And so in Denmark, they were famous for the music as opposed to the TV series.
Okay.
Oh,
Until the reruns in the '80s.
Right.
But it was big in Sweden. The TV series was on in Sweden and Finland. So yeah, there weren't that many fans, and it was nice to be able to connect with lots of others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
So coming up to the present day, I mean, 7A Records, you've got another Monkees related release now, and that's Davy Jones, Music and Memories, the MGM Recordings. And I'm curious, I mean, how did this come about? And sort of, can you give us a little idea of what's going to be on this album?
Yeah, it's not a new idea. It's actually something that's been on my mind for about 10 years. 7 about 11 years old. It's one of the first releases I thought about doing. Because we did Mickey Dolenz MGM singles collection, as you might know, and it then made sense to look at Davy's. Although David had fewer recordings than Mickey, fewer singles on MGM, but so we contacted Universal, and it wasn't exactly straightforward. There was a lot of first of all, they didn't realize that they owned the recordings. And it's one of those. It's we had to scan the vinyl labels and send an email to them, and they then said, yes, we do own it, but it's going to cost you a lot of money for us to clear this project, basically.
Wow.
And thought, okay, so we waited a while, saved up some money, then came back to them, and they said, yes, you can license it now. The problem was that, unbeknownst to us, at the same time they had licensed The Point to another label. So I think this is what happens sometimes when you're dealing with some of the major labels. They sometimes think, that's a really good idea, we'll do that ourselves. And so that is the danger. You come up with an idea and they might take it themselves. So it was, I can't remember the label, but it was a sub-label of Universal that released The Point a few years ago, a label owned by Universal. And I thought that was a bit sneaky, but then it's been long enough now where I thought we can include these recordings with the singles that haven't been out before, and it will still make a great package.
Right.
What we got, if you want, we got Your Lady, followed by Who Was It, Rubberine, and then the tracks from The Point, Me and My Arrow, Think About Your Troubles, Blanket for a Sail, Lifeline, the POV Waltz, Are You Sleeping, and then you got Gotta Get Up with Mickey Dolenz. And we got a Japanese version of Your Lady, because he sang it in both English and Japanese.
Oh, cool.
And that's quite rare. And Who Was It, the mono version, and Rubberine, the mono version. A lot of these haven't been out since they came out on a Japanese label in 1981, I believe. So 44 years.
Oh, wow.
So apart from The Point recordings, the rest haven't been out since then. And I really think that David deserves his own release with the MGM recordings, because it was quite an important chapter in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he left Bell Records around 1981. So what this one covers is really the sort of MGM singles from 1982 to from 1972 to 1978.
Okay.
So he was slightly more sort of mature and trying to go in a different direction musically.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting time in his career.
And now, for anyone who's watching with us live, feel free to drop a comment if you have a question or comment for Glenn, and we'd love to bring it up on the screen and ask him. But yeah, you mentioned Davey being a little more mature, and that's really reflected in the photography you've got here on the album cover and on the booklet. Let me see if I can bring that up for folks. Because sometimes you get just really nice photos of the Monkees when they were in their youth, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the age they were when they made the recordings. And I think these look very lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, a big shout out to Gary Strobel, who has once again been a huge help in being able to find these pictures that a lot of these haven't been out before. They're sort of previously unpublished. And I personally think that's I love that picture of David that's on the front.
Yeah.
But it's, I think it's something I learned the hard way, because we have released, when we started, we did David live in Japan. And lots of people were saying that picture is not from the right period.
Sure, yeah.
And since then, I've been really careful in trying to get pictures that are from the right period.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes too, that's just by the nature of their career. There's just a greater volume of really nice, high quality photos of them around the Monkees era than necessarily there were in the 70s, 80s, and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny enough, with David, it gets more difficult once you get to this particular era, because there's loads of him from the 60s, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But once you get to the mid 70s, it's slightly more difficult.
Right.
So we're very lucky that Gary Strobel was able to help us with these.
And now, I mean, something we've commented about on the show several times is that Davy's discography in particular tends to be pretty scattershot, where it'll be this was only released, at concerts on cassette, or this was only released in Japan on Laserdisc, or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, just getting this stuff collected in really nice packaging, I think, is very, very beneficial for us, for fans, and for his legacy.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree, and I mean, I was thinking about this for quite a long time. Because in theory, we could have added other bonus tracks, but they wouldn't really have been relevant. We could have, and this is what you sometimes come across, where, he had other singles and other labels later on in the early 80s, but we've already issued some of those on the Davy Live in Japan set. And the more I thought about it, I really wanted this to be just about this particular period and the MGM recordings.
Yeah.
Because there's also, if you look at the Point recordings, they're just the ones that Davy sing on. I know there's a duet with Mickey, but we haven't included Mickey's solo tracks from the Point or the other tracks on the Point that doesn't feature any of them. Because I just thought this has to be about Davy.
Right. Yeah.
And I think he deserves his own release.
So how do you go about kind of deciding what to include and what not to include, and then how do you pull these things if the only place they exist is on cassettes from the early 80s and laserdiscs?
Well, sometimes we get lucky and they find masters. There has been several times with Universal where they denied having a master. Okay. And then we get in contact with somebody who actually works in the vault, and he says, "That's funny because I got the master here in my hand." And then you have to take a picture of that and say, "Yeah, you do have the master." And they say, "Okay, yeah, but it's going to cost you this and that to transfer it." And we say, "Okay." And then that was the same with Mickey when we did his MGM singles.
Yeah.
But we were quite lucky that they still had all these masters except for Rubberine, which unfortunately it looks like it's either lost or it may have gone in the Universal Fire. That was a few years ago.
Oh no!
So we've remastered that from the best available sources we have now, and I actually think it sounds. If you didn't know, I personally wouldn't tell the difference. I think it sounds completely clean, but everything else is from the master tapes.
Okay.
And I think I think Dave Blackman at Hills and Grove Mastering, who always does a lot of our mastering, has done a fantastic job. And I obviously biased, but I think this is the best they're going to sound.
Okay. And now the CD includes a 16-page color booklet that has not only rare photos but also detailed liner notes by Joe Marchese. Who's Joe?
Joe is a journalist. Joe works for the Second Disc and writes for many other labels. He's incredible, really. He does a lot of work for labels in the UK. I know he works for Cherry Red Records and other labels, and he's very knowledgeable. And I was blown away actually by these liner notes because I didn't expect him to know that much detail. And I think he's really nailed it. I think he's found things that I didn't know, and I consider myself a huge fan. So yeah, hats off to Joe and for really getting to the bottom of everything and finding out all this information.
Okay. And who put together the package itself, and not only the photos but also the color scheme, the soft blues, and I think it's just a very nice looking package.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Tim Johnson is a designer that we used for many years, and I want to give a shout out to him because he does put his heart and soul into everything he does. And I agree with you. I think he's put a really nice package together. And we used him on I think on all of our releases over the years. I mean, Scott Balcony did a couple, but Tim has done the majority of the 7/8 titles.
Okay. And now I know this one's going to be a CD only release, and a lot of the previous ones have been CD and vinyl. What was the reasoning behind this one being CD only?
Yeah, I have to be completely honest and say over the last 12 months or so, maybe 12, 15 months, we have, at least here in the UK, seen quite a big drop in vinyl sales.
Okay.
And that is unfortunate because I'm a huge vinyl fan myself.
Right.
But we just have to look at, basically, because 7A is a small label, and any profit we make goes into the next release.
Right.
So we have to watch that carefully. And I would love to have done a really sort of deluxe, package on vinyl, but there is that fear of just not selling enough to actually make it then worthwhile releasing another one, which we'd like to do the next release.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope vinyl sales bounce back, because I'd like to do more in the future. But for the time being, I just felt that this release, it would be the safest not to do it, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, especially for those of us who are collecting this sort of niche market type of stuff. There's
Yeah.
only so many of us. We only have so many dollars we're gonna put together. But
Also,
yeah.
all of the recordings have been on vinyl before,
Okay.
so that makes a difference too. But they've never been on CD before, apart from some of the point.
Okay.
So if you want it on vinyl, you can get it.
Right. You
You can hunt it down.
That's absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Now this is out here pretty soon, right? It's sort of
14th of November. Yeah.
14th of November. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's less than a
Friday.
week away. Is that this Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
First day of Conjuration, so yes.
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
Friday.
I've been
Friday,
laid up with a
yeah.
broken foot, so I don't know what day it is anymore.
I mean, that's the UK release date. I believe it's the same in the US.
Okay.
The best place to get it from, if I may say, is import CDs in the US.
Okay.
I find to be the cheapest, but it is on Amazon and it is on deep discount as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I ordered mine from import. So, yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I really enjoy when we get these nice releases from the guys. Of their, like I said, sometimes, especially the 70s and 80s, sort of scattershot catalogs.
Yeah.
And I know you've done some really great releases for all the guys at this point. Now, does it feel like, from your perspective, is the well running dry as far as material that's out there to put out, or do you think there's a lot of good opportunities still out there?
I think there's still opportunities, but there's no doubt that a lot has been done now.
Right.
But it's not to say that there couldn't be. I think Davy has a lot of recordings that haven't been given a proper reissue. I'd love to do more stuff with Mickey, even new recordings. I have pitched a few ideas to him, but he's obviously very selective in what he does now, and that's understandable. I'd love him to record a country album, or I got several ideas. But I also completely get his comment that he's made in the past, that he doesn't want to be just a cover artist.
True.
And I understand that, but there are, if you look at country music, for instance, some of those songs have been recorded by so many different artists that you can't really say it's a cover version. It's just a song like Wichita Lineman or something like that. It's not.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a cover version particularly, because hundreds of people have done it.
Sure. Sort of becomes a standard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point is it a cover? But it's I understand, but I'm not giving up any hope. I hope we can still do it at some point. But lots of ideas. I'm working with Davis Estate, who have been really helpful on this project.
Oh, good.
Bobby Boys and Davis Daughters, and we're working on another Davy Jones project, which is it's a collection of his very best live recordings.
Oh, cool.
Obviously, that's in the that's subjective to who listens to them, but I'm trying to put together what I think are the very best live recordings available, because he was such a good artist live as well as in the studio, and he hasn't really been given enough credit for that, I think. He always gave 110%. And there is some really interesting recordings from the 70s and 80s and beyond that haven't been out on any sort of either physical or digital before. So that's what I'm working with them on. And but it has to, we'll have to see. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities, but it has to make sense as well.
Right.
But I want to, as a fan, I want to do as much as I can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a comment here from Wendy Borite, and Wendy says Davy was a good singer. The song "Girl" on the Brady Bunch TV show.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, that was an iconic Davy Jones appearance.
Indeed.
Absolutely. And we managed to license, which I don't know, you probably haven't seen. It's a digital-only version of "Girl" from the Brady Bunch TV show.
Oh, cool.
And that's now available on all streaming and digital services.
Cool.
That's fantastic.
Because for some reason that hadn't been done, and I contacted them, and I think they've completely forgotten about it. So it's nice to put that. So that's now available.
Excellent.
And
I was gonna say on the Davy Jones live ones, are you gonna have like his banter that he does in between songs? Are you thinking of doing that too?
So
Like
I was
so
actually asked about that by the estate, and sadly, I have to say, all the recordings I've listened to, there's only very little banter that was recorded, unless you go on the YouTube clips and things like that.
yeah.
Because he was such a funny man, and but sadly, most of the songs available seem to cut a lot of that off.
Yeah,
So
and that's
if I can, yeah, I mean, I guess
yeah.
the answer is if where I can, I will,
Okay. Yeah,
because
because
I think that's important.
I got to see him live in 2004. Just him, and yeah, he working that stage, he's working the crowd, he's cutting jokes left and right. I mean, you know, because it was here in Georgia and it was summertime and it was hot, and so he was like making jokes about taking off his shirt, but he didn't want all the women to faint. And, like he was just cracking jokes all the time, and yeah, he's a good showman. So
Yeah,
yeah,
as an entertainer, I think a lot of people forget just how good he was, and that's something I'd like to remind people of. Hopefully, with being able to release this CD.
yeah,
And
But
I should say, Davey always gave 110%, whether it was a small local venue or whether it was a larger venue. He seemed to treat them the same.
yeah.
Absolutely.
This was a small local venue. It was not big. It was Mabel House Amphitheater. It was not.
We're
it was
very
not
familiar with
big.
So yeah, and I've also I've been working with some other artists as well that are non-monkey related. I don't know if you remember Mungo Jerry.
Yes.
Had a big hit within the summertime. But in Europe, he had more than just the one hit. You know, he had like 10 or 12 really big hits, and that's great. And he had lots of stories as well about sleeping on Peter Tork's floor, and everybody knows everybody in this business. It's
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody who was active around that time slept at Peter Tork's house somewhere
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, he said he met Peter years later and said, "Do you remember I slept on your floor?" He said, "No."
You're one of thousands.
Right. Yeah, and I really am hopeful that that Mickey will record some new material as well. The last time we got very lucky that the release party at Luxury Records, Athens is only about 90 minutes from our house, so we were able to go in person and be there, and that was a really great, memorable event. And it was really great just seeing. Yeah, it was wonderful seeing Mickey just get the accolades there and just crowds in the streets for him. And I would love if he did something again, but obviously, like you say, he's to a point where he can be very selective about what he does or if he does anything.
Yeah, and obviously I keep asking, is there anything that you wanna record, anything that you had in mind? But I'll remind him again, and I'll keep trying. As you're from Georgia, do you know the -5?
Yep. Yes, we do.
So I because they came here recently, and Scott McCoy, obviously Scott McCoy and Peter Buck from REM are in the -5.
Yeah.
And I got to speak to Scott McCoy. I got to talk to both of them, and he has all these songs that he would love Mickey to record. And he sent me demos, and I passed them on, and there's some great stuff there. And Peter Buck would love to play on the album, but it's just deciding what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited about that. So I hope Mickey wants to do it too. But yeah, they were recently here as well, and we had a conflict, and we couldn't go see them. But yeah, they're a great band.
And they don't seem to mind because it's a really tiny venue they played here in the UK.
Okay.
And they don't seem to. They just do that because they love playing music, basically.
Right. That's awesome.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, now as you became a record producer, why the Monkees? I mean, I know you were a fan, but obviously there's a lot of things that you're a fan of that wouldn't necessarily, like, you didn't start putting out like the Batman, the actors who were in Batman had a lot of singles and stuff, but you didn't start a record label around that. Why the Monkees in particular?
Well, as a fan, I mean, the whole reason why 7A Records was started with Ian Lee and myself was that the album that we wanted to buy wasn't available.
Yeah.
We wanted to buy, at the time, Mickey Dolenz MGM singles, and nobody was producing it. It wasn't available. Right. So we thought, so Ian Lee was on this quest of trying to track down the masters, and he finally got hold of Universal. And he was very vocal about it on Facebook and social media. And I didn't really know Ian at the time. I mean, I heard of him, but I didn't know him. So I was following this, and I contacted him and said, because he said, I've now found out Universal have the masters, but I don't know what the next step is. So I contacted him. Well, I happen to have a record label, and I can certainly help you. I'd love to be part of it. And I said to him, but if we want to release this, we have to start a new label, because you can't just go to Universal and say, I want to license these. If you don't have a record label, they won't do it.
Right.
So we had to start, and this is how we got into it. Then that did really well. Then all these other projects came forward. We did Bobby Hart's solo album, and then we did Davy live in Japan, which was quite a quest as well, actually, tracking down the Japanese label, the Japanese owner of those live recordings.
Right.
And I remember having to send a fax. It was quite an old man. I had to. He didn't have, and I got a phone number, and Ian Lee knew this translator, so I translated. She translated my letter to Japanese, and I had to fax it.
Wow.
And she called me straight back, and she said, "I think it's easier in English." Of course, he was fluent in English.
Well, that's great.
But yeah, so we actually bought the master. We actually bought the rights to the master tapes for those Japanese recordings.
Okay.
And we then did a separate royalty agreement with Davy's estate for them. But that was, and that felt like such a great thing to be able to release them again and have them cleaned up and do everything the right way. And then of course there was Michael Nesmith's Live at the Troubadour.
Oh yeah.
Like one project followed the other, really. And it was just, and we'd like to keep it going as long as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the really fun thing about the Davy Jones Live in Japan is, it's quite a number of years after the Monkees. He's quite a bit older, or a decade, I guess. But seeing him back in front of those screaming fans again, and just watching, because there's video as well, but also hearing him just come alive on stage, it's just really thrilling. It's just a really fun part of the experience of watching the video, but also listening to that album.
Yeah.
And it also it was it's a strange time, because there was sort of I guess a personal low for him a few years earlier, where he was not really sure if the MGM thing didn't really work out, and he wasn't really sure what to do. I think Mark Kleiner has written about it in the Dolan Jones Boys and Heart liner notes.
Okay.
That he was doing a tour of Ireland, and a riot actually broke out in one venue, and it was it was like a personal low. And then fast forward a couple of years, and you're in Japan singing in front of thousands of screaming fans, and then following that you get the Daydream Believer advert on TV, and Monkey Mania starts again.
Right.
So it was quite a roller coaster ride, really.
Yeah.
And then I really enjoyed the First National Band Redux, and we were able to see that show, but also just having the really great recording of it that we can just revisit again and again. And I think that, correct me if I'm mistaken here, but I think Mike Nesmith had said that that's the one that he was most proud of just the way it came out.
Yes, and I'm over the moon that he said that. Absolutely, so thrilled that he thought that highly about it. But I think again, Christian Nesmith, who produced and played on that, did an outstanding job.
Yeah.
And the whole band was fantastic. Cersei and Amy and the backing singers, everything just worked really well. And had some really, really good musicians. Like Michael said in that interview, he said he felt they could play better now than the original lineup could.
That's high praise.
He might be right, but it just sounded really good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, do you have, aside from the Monkees, other artists and projects in mind that you'd like to release that you could talk about, or is it the sort of thing you don't want to put it out there until you got something in the works?
I have another label as well called Not Now Music, which is a UK budget label. You can say budget, sort of mid-price label that has been going for about 20 years now, and we export a lot to the States as well. And I do lots of different releases on that, but it's always the Monkees that sort of interest me the most. But I love working now with Mungo Jerry, and I've loved working, in the past with Dave Edmunds and people like that. Sometimes it's really I sort of look for gaps, things that haven't been done that would make sense to do.
Right.
Then there's the commercial aspect as well, and then there's the whole licensing thing where it has to make sense financially, because it's not that I need to make money out of it, but I just don't want to lose money, basically,
Right.
because the releases have to pay for the next ones, and that's what we have to be mindful of, because there's so many projects I love to do. And it's just what to do next. But starting with David's, of course, and the live recordings and this album, I know there's so much stuff we could do, and I just hope we can keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously we're thankful for the support of all the fans out there that buys the 7/8 titles, because that is really what makes it happen.
Mm-hmm. And really the sweet spot for me, I guess, is when you get that release that like it just feels like this should have always been there. So it's not, sometimes not yours, but other record labels will put things out and you're thinking, why are you putting this out? We don't need this. But then sometimes you like, especially with the Monkees stuff, where it feels like, oh man, this should have always existed. Like, I'm so glad this is in my collection. And I think like that's just, it's not exploitative. It's just getting that, it's sort of getting their body of work out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. And that's, instead of having on lots of single releases and, lying around.
Mm-hmm.
But for many years, not much attention was paid to their solo careers, really. I mean, apart from maybe Mike Nesmith's, a lot of it was really unnoticed, and that's something we've certainly been trying to put right.
Mm-hmm.
With all the releases we've done.
Which is really great,
and still I find when I read comments online and things like that, a lot of people aren't aware of them. So there's a lot of Monkees fans that only collect things that says the Monkees on them.
Right.
They don't realize that there's a lot of really, really good solo albums, and I hope they will dig into those and find out for themselves.
Yeah, because I mean, like, even now with the internet, there was a lot of their solo music that I'm not familiar with at all, and that I should be, especially with podcast. But it's great that we have this venue to be able to get them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and obviously the whole digital age has helped a lot in trying to get the word out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the guys have done so much over the years, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mickey was sitting on a lot of recordings as well. Whether he wants them out there or not, that's I know we spoke to, when we did the Mickey's MGM singles years ago, we spoke to Michael Lloyd, who was in Starship with Mickey. And he said, yeah, we do have, because I had this whole list of, Universal gave me this whole list of all the masters they were supposed to have.
Right.
And most of them were missing. Most of the ones I hadn't heard were sadly missing.
Mm.
I'm trying to think. Family of Men was one of the tracks. That was an old Harry Nilsson song.
Okay.
So that was recorded. You Come a Long Way from St. Louis, I think, was another track that Mickey recorded. But when they came to pull the masters, they were gone.
Oh no!
And that was so sad, because Ian and I were jumping up and down because it was on the list. We thought, yeah, we. And I spoke to Michael Lloyd. He said, yeah, we have those, but I'm not sure Mickey wants them out.
Okay.
So I know that there's recordings out there, but whether or not we can actually get to them and release them, and whether Mickey's interested or whether he wants to do it himself, who knows?
Right.
It would be nice to be able to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. We had another comment from Wendy Borite, who commented that Mike sang the song "You May Be the One." Great.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Oh, Bimbos. Is that the one?
Right.
Yeah, because I don't think until we started doing this podcast and you started releasing your album that I knew they had solo work. Other than Davy doing Girl with the Brady Bunch, which everybody knows that, I did not realize, maybe some of Mike's songs, like his more famous song, but I did not know that the rest, that they had solo
Yeah,
work.
and that is the sort of struggle that we sometimes have to make everybody aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and unfortunately, they didn't get the promotional push that like a John Lennon or Paul McCartney had in their solo careers. Where everyone knows. Oftentimes, like the new Peter Tork album wasn't going to be on the cover of a magazine and that sort of thing.
And quite often, circumstances just were just unlucky, or on this particular compilation, you got Your Lady, which and then Who Was It, And Who Was It? I think it would have been a great side A release, but for some reason, and it was meant to be a side A release. I think the promo, there was a promo that had it down as side A, but at the very last moment it was switched. So Your Lady became side A, and Who Was It became side B.
Oh.
And nobody really knows why that happened, but they should probably both have been A sides. But it's decisions like that can sometimes change if it's a hit or not,
Right.
Yeah.
and whether people actually ever get to hear it. And that's funny because David was working with Tony Scotti, who was the vice chairman, the vice president of MGM Records back then. So he was working with the very top, and you think he probably got the most sort of support he could get.
Right.
But I think that was probably a poor decision, because I think Who Was It would have been at least a top 40 hit maybe at the time. And you had similar things with Dolan Jones' Boys and Heart, where I think the person who signed them and left the label just before the album was coming out.
Oh, okay.
And the whole budget and everything kind of disappeared with him. So it's like not small things, but it's things like that really can change whether something is successful or not. And who knows if that had been a big album, Dolan Jones' Boys Now.
Yeah.
Who knows what would happen in sort of years later.
Yeah, I've always thought I Remember the Feeling should have been a hit song.
Oh yeah.
That's just one of those songs when it comes on the radio, you're like, you can't not dance to it. You know?
Yeah. So
now I know that you've released Peter's album previously, but is there more Peter Tork material out there that we've not heard? I know that his recording he didn't record as much as the other guys did.
Yeah, I think that there is more recordings, definitely, and I think the main sort of, there's a lot of it with James Lee Stanley, and James says he has loads of recordings and video material. Again, it's a question whether it would be commercially viable to release it, but it would certainly be nice to have it. I mean, again, Peter's CDs that he did with James Lee Stanley, we're talking about 30 years now or something, aren't we?
Right.
It's a long time since they actually came out. And I'm sure things could be done. And James Lee Stanley is such a lovely guy, and I'd love to do a project with him too.
Yeah. We had a comment here from Carolyn Negron that says, live performances would be great. I just finished listening to a video of David in New York singing one of my favorite Tommy Boy songs, I Love You Like I Love New York City, live. Yeah,
that's a great song. I've actually I haven't been able to find a good master for that. It's one of the songs I had on my short list for that new release, and I'm really glad that somebody commented on that, because those are the kind of songs that I would like to include. But what takes a long time is finding the best possible sounding recording, and then we'll have to go and remaster it and try and make it sound even better. So for that particular song, I don't have a good master at the moment. We do have him singing Lady in Red.
Oh,
It's not a song that you'd expect him to sing normally, but he sounds absolutely amazing on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So so that should be that'll be an interesting project.
Certainly. Yeah, and those are the kind of songs that really excite me about it. Like, I mean, I'll never turn it off if Davy's singing a Daydream Believer, but we've heard him sort of singing that and Cuddly Toy and so forth plenty of times. And so these songs are a little more obscure, or at least as far as Davy's performance of them. That's really exciting to hear.
Yeah, I've been working closely with the estate on that, and we obviously want to include the songs that he was known for, but also to try and throw in as many great performances we can of other songs that might surprise people.
Sure. Yeah, there's always sort of that striking that balance. Yeah. And two, people who are buying a Davy Jones live performance CD, you sort of want them to feel like they get what they paid for, and not him singing in the bathtub or something like that,
Yeah. But he also sings like, there's a good version of Listen to the Band.
Oh.
You might not associate with him normally,
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That would be cool.
So that was interesting about David's shows, that he always used to sing some new songs in all of the shows. He didn't just stick to the same set list.
All right. Now, so the upcoming release, though, the Davy Jones Music and Memories, the MGM Recordings, out this Friday, November 14th. In the U.S., you said probably Import CDs is the best place to get that, and Amazon in the U.K. And where can people find other 7A releases? Where they can find more of what you're doing, Glenn?
Well, there'll be. I mean, obviously, you got 7arecords.com, where you can see everything we've done. But you'll be able to find them for sale on deepdiscount.com, Import CDs, and Amazon. They're all on there. And our sort of main customers, although we're a UK label, is America. So we sell most of our stuff in the States because that's where most Monkees fans are.
Right.
So you'll certainly be able to find it for sale in the States on most websites.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. We really do appreciate
It's
it.
really good to talk to you again. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And I hope I can return at some point if you'll have me. With,
Yes,
always.
very much
Definitely
so.
will.
Yes,
Whatever
yes.
you
with
want.
more Davy Jones recordings.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You take care.
You
Bye.
too. All right, everyone. Thanks for monkeying around.